New research linking obesity to a risk of cancer. A study finds excess weight accounts for more than 5% of all new cancer cases in developed countries. That's almost 500,000 new cases worldwide every year, and women are at an even greater risk than men. Dr. Devi Nampia I was trying to do it slowly so I could get every syllable right. Happy Thanksgiving, assistant professor, NYU School of Medicine. What can people do? They're about to sit down to the Thanksgiving table. There's going to be a lot of calories. Tell us about the study.
Well, for the study itself, we don't know exactly why obesity causes cancer. It's not that it does it by itself, but it's that if people have other risk factors, obesity might tip them over the edge. So we think that it can actually prevent 10% of cancers.
So it's not the only one, but it could be one of the biggest risks.
Exactly. It could be something that makes a huge difference. Now, why do women have a greater risk? We're not sure, but it probably has to do with estrogen. So before menopause, women get estrogen from their ovaries. After menopause, they should have less estrogen. Their ovaries stop making it, but you can actually get estrogen produced by the fatty tissue. Now, you can see that in men also. If men get a little bit obese, you can see a little bit more breast tissue and stuff. So the same thing happens in women when they have more estrogen than they normally would postmenopausally. That might actually predispose them to breast cancers or endometrial cancers.
So what do women do about it to deal with that risk?
Well, the biggest thing is actually weight loss, but that wouldn't be related to one Thanksgiving meal. That would actually be,
long-term.
Exactly. That's more of a long-term commitment. So that would be the main thing. Now, the study also talks about developed countries versus developing countries. I mean, some of that has to do with our diet and our lifestyle. It makes a huge difference. And also in developing countries, people tend to die a lot younger, so they might not live long enough to develop some of these cancers.
Now, talking about the Thanksgiving dinner, experts also say you really can have too much of a good thing. A normal meal, like you see here, is around 700 calories. But a single holiday dinner can easily top 2,000 calories, which is the recommended daily calorie intake we see on nutrition labels for an entire day that you can get in one meal. Americans like to get their fill on Thanksgiving and Christmas, but those heavy meals can leave you feeling pretty awful afterwards. What's your recommendation for people? I've got two questions. First, on the meal itself, you got relatives saying, oh, try this, try that, try this.
Exactly.
How do you deal with it?
Well, I don't want to put a damper on anyone's Thanksgiving meal, right? So I think, if you want to try things, go ahead. I mean, it's better to go slow and steady, though, because it's that huge rush of food, that huge rush of calories that usually makes people feel worse. I mean, the main thing is, how do we control our blood sugar? We have a hormone called insulin that actually regulates it. So when you eat, your body produces this insulin to kind of control your blood sugar. But if you have a ton of calories all at once, it's not sure exactly how much insulin to put out there, so it usually overshoots. Now, that causes what people usually feel a couple hours after, where they feel really tired, or we call that food coma. So if you eat a little slower, your body can kind of adjust a little bit better to that.
So let's talk short-term and long-term then, moving forward. Short-term, we hear about when you're at work on a normal day, you shouldn't be sitting at your desk all day. That's really bad for you, really bad for your heart.
Exactly.
You, likewise, it seems, shouldn't be sitting on the couch immediately after a big meal like that. Take a walk around the block. What can you do short-term?
I agree. Well, you can actually walk even before the Thanksgiving meal, because that also helps your body to burn more calories and get more adjusted in terms of the insulin. So if you're eating, if you can spend more time standing, walking, or take a walk afterwards, that'll also help. Now, the other thing is, especially for people who you don't want to go to sleep right after, even if you're tired. I mean, part of that is that you won't burn as many calories, but also, just if you think about gravity, you're eating more, you tend to bulge out a little bit more in the middle, right? Yes. But also you can bulge out upwards. So what happens is it pushes on your lungs a little, where then you kind of feel short of breath. But also when you lay down, if you think about all your stomach acids, you want gravity to kind of help you pull everything downwards, right? Otherwise, when you lay down, it's like heartburn. You get that acid feeling in the back of your throat. So even when you go to sleep at night, you want to use as many pillows as possible.
And you mentioned it's not just one meal. It's a long-term deal with eating. It's a long-term deal with exercise as well. It's not like you can just get on the treadmill tomorrow for an hour and everything's going to be better.
That's true, exactly. It's a long-term commitment. I mean, in the short term, for people enjoying the meal, I would say if you can still stay active, it'll help with some of the symptoms for today. But overall, if we're talking about cancer and obesity, it is much more of a long-term issue.
Dr. Devi, some great advice. Happy Thanksgiving to you.
Happy Thanksgiving to you, too.
Good to see you.